Hi, everyone. Hi, good morning, good afternoon. Thank you so much for coming to this channel. We really do appreciate it. Remember, we are here to encourage girls pursue science and technology. We are here to showcase other role models that are pursuing STEM. And we're here to usher the girls, the women, into STEM by exposing them to different types of careers, technology. And this is a platform where we just engage ourselves into trying to find out a lot about what's in STEM. And guys, today I'm so excited. I have one of our favorite, guests that always come to our channel, and her name is Priya. Abiram. I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly. But guys, thank you so much. And remember, we are here to just, talk about what's going on in STEM and just to see other role models that are pursuing science and technology. So before I even preempt, I start talking too much. You know how I talk too much, guys. I would like to bring Priya up. Guys, engage her. Let's ask questions. If you have questions, feel free to ask any questions that you want to know. And because she has so much knowledge, I really, really love her. And guys, let's bring her up. Hi, Priya. Hi, Priya. How are you? How are you? Thank you so much for always coming to this channel, for supporting us. I really do appreciate, and welcome.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. Hello, everyone. It's great meeting you guys. Great speaking you here, and it's an awesome opportunity. Always talking about the role we play as a woman in STEM and supporting and encouraging each other.
Wow, wow. Thank you so much. Guys, I think you've met Priya before. She's been here, more than once, and she talks about science and technology. Amazing, amazing young women coming up. So, Priya, let's get into it. Priya, last time, let's recap. Last time I spoke to you, you were about to graduate from high school. And, you've been very passionate about space exploration and becoming an astronaut. So let's do this. What are you doing today? What are you up to? So, what happened from the time I was speaking to you? You were talking about, oh, Kirsten, I'm applying for college. I'm so busy. So, can you now take me back from that day and let's move on? What happened?
Yeah, definitely. It's been a college application process for everyone watching, and even for the younger generation, it's definitely an extremely stressful yet rewarding process. And I'm grateful to say that I had the opportunity to come study at Cornell University, and I'm studying mechanical aerospace engineering. And I'm just grateful for getting into such an awesome school and for all the opportunities that Cornell has opened up for me. But it's more than just leveraging the opportunities at school. Since the time I graduated, I spent my summer at Seattle, Washington, interning for the Boeing company. And I interned as a systems engineer, human factors, in the 777X future flight deck team. So we were in charge of designing the flight deck of, so to speak, like the next new big aircraft, the 777X. And it's a platform independent aircraft. So I was in the product development team. And our main goal was to look at what are the best ways we can improve on past processes and past methodologies, and what are different ways we could reduce things like redundant visual clutter, and what would make the life of a pilot easier? How can we improve the user interface with the way that the pilot interacts with the flight deck and with the cockpit of the airplane? So it was a lot of different aspects of just designing, testing, and looking at the implementation of new technologies, looking at the next horizon technologies, looking at what our what all our other companies have to offer and where the future is headed in the next 10 years. So it was definitely an exciting internship, and I'm grateful for all the amazing people that I met on my team, many of them being aviators, engineers, women in STEM. And then right after that, I went to the US Space and Rocket Center for the Elite Space Academy. And I had an awesome blast from doing underwater astronaut training, scuba diving, and doing the multi-axis trainer. And we had an overnight mission to Mars. We had simulated missions to the International Space Station, to the moon, and then we ended our week-long training at the Elite Space Academy with an overnight Mars mission. So we started off late at night around 9, 10 p.m. And we had a whole long day. So we started our day, at morning, usual time, waking up at 6:30. We were climbing large poles, jumping off trees and doing all the crazy stuff that we usually do, zip lining. And then toward the end of the day, we went inside this little meeting room, and we were briefed on our mission to go to Mars and to the moon, etc., and find astronauts and help them. And this mission lasted all through the night until the next morning. And overnight, we were evaluated on checklists of responsibilities, tasks, roles, on everything from taking off, going there, coming back. And I had the awesome opportunity to be challenged as the mission commander. So I had the opportunity to stay up all night, make sure everyone is okay. It was definitely a hard, challenging responsibility, but a very rewarding one where I learned a lot about myself and my crewmates in under very stressful situations. So definitely a challenge that I remember very clearly that I loved. And after my Elite Space Academy, I directly came to Cornell. And literally the next day was the first day of classes. So no break at all, but had a lot of fun. And here at Cornell, there has been a lot of opportunities both within the school and outside. Through the Cornell University, I'm a part of the Cornell rocketry team. I'm in the recovery and payload sub-team, where we are working on recovery of recovery and payload, which is like a solar panel, and working on the drag chute, deployment of the track chute, all of that stuff. And then I'm also in the part of integration and testing team on the Alpha CubeSat project at Cornell University. And our goal is to send a 1U CubeSat to the International Space Station and have it deploy. And the end goal is to test different technologies like laser technologies, light sail technologies. And we had flight approval to go through a NASA mission, and hopefully we would go to the International Space Station. We would launch our satellite this upcoming July, so I'm very excited for that. And between all of that, I had the opportunities to speak and attend a series of conferences. I went to the International Astronautical Congress at Paris, France. And over there, we spent a week presenting research, had the awesome opportunity meeting Bill Nye, a lot of astronauts, talking to them, staying with the amazing space community. And toward the end of the week, I was very humbled and honored to have received the second place silver medal in the undergraduate research competition. So that was definitely an awesome experience, being able to present my research and being honored for it on an international platform. And after that, I had the opportunity to go with the International Institute of IIAS Institute, International Institute of Astronautical Sciences, and we had our OPS 102 classes. So basically we talked about spacecraft egress and rescue operations. So talking about abort systems, emergencies, when like your spacecraft crashes down in the water, how do you save yourself? How do you like come out of emergency situations? All of that stuff. And then I had the opportunity to go to the Bessie Coleman Conference in Michigan, and there also meet a bunch of future astronauts, astronaut trainees, such as like Sydney Hamilton, who has also been an awesome mentor that I met over there, and met a lot of amazing trailblazers and other women in STEM. So that was through the Women of Aeronautics and Astronautics, so the WOA community, and just meeting a lot of different women working in space and launch, as well as a lot of different women and students in college that are looking and aspiring to work in space and launch. So it's definitely been a lot of amazing experiences, and I'm grateful for all of it.
Wow, amazing. And you have done so much just within, I think I would say, is it a year?
Sorry?
Within, you have done a lot, just just getting from high school up to today. You have done a lot of things already, going to college, get involved with conferences, having an internship. So my question is, what really drives your passion, and where do you find time? Because people will be saying, how can I do that? How can I do that? So how do you balance all these things that you've accomplished, or the things that you're working on as at now? And before you answer that question, could we remind our viewers, what are you doing, what are you studying specifically today?
Yeah, definitely. I'm studying mechanical aerospace engineering at Cornell University. And in terms of balance and time management, I think that is an ongoing process that everyone is trying to learn and everyone is trying to fix. And the idea of balance and managing different aspects and different priorities, I think should be taken as something that's flexible and not rigid, because based on where you are at life, your priorities are constantly changing, and you just want to make sure you're adaptable to whatever opportunity is presented in your way, so that you're able to take the most of everything that comes your way, while also making sure that the things you are involved with, and you make time for yourself and you're not burnt out. And in terms of personal time management, I think one, it's the fact I'm awesome and grateful to have such amazing friends here at Cornell that are all very supportive of things that I do. And they're always willing to help me with not just like classes, but also outside of classes, just hanging out, having fun. And I think that socializing, the social aspect is very important to maintaining balance and taking a break from all the things that we're constantly doing. The main thing that drives me is my ambitions to become an astronaut when I grow up. And I think that through the journey, and for me, it's not just about the final destination of becoming an astronaut. And I want to make sure that through this journey of reaching my dreams, I want to be able to inspire the people around me, and I want to be able to motivate and encourage other, not just girls, but all students in the next generation onto the fact that the possibilities are really endless, and we are the next generation of, Christopher Columbus entering a completely new world. We have, but instead of just a country, we have an entire new planet to explore. We have Mars coming our way. We just had the Artemis 1 finally take off, which was
Yeah.
absolutely fantastic. We threw a little launch party here at Cornell. We were sitting up at midnight in the engineering quad, like watching the rocket take off. It
Yeah,
was,
like every bit of it.
yes. So, the fact that we're finally going back to the moon, and only endless opportunities hold further for us at Mars. I just want to be able to spark that passion, curiosity, and drive in everyone around me.
Wow. I'm so glad I'm part of this, of your journey, how you're going to finally get to the end of your journey. And of course, it's never ending, because we keep learning, we keep finding out about a lot of things, because we keep researching, right, in science and technology. Yeah. So I'm so glad to be part of your journey. And when you came first, I was like, guys, watch this space. We're going to see how, Priya is going. And so far, we are really so privileged to be part of your journey, and just to see how you're going. And I also appreciate that, a lot of people watching, my viewers here, they can see how, how it is for someone to finally get to the destination. What are they going through? What are the things that are they are, are doing, things like research, internships, being part of different conferences. So it's really a privilege to be part of your life. And again, I just want to touch on one point. So, what really drives you, for you to have this passion, or could you share with my viewers what really drives you?
I think the impact that I make on the people around me is what drives me most. I love meeting new people. I love talking to people. I can talk to people days on. I just love learning about all the things that are going around, and just being able to make an impact, learning from others, but also giving to others. And the aspect about space that inspires me the most and pushes me the most is the fact that like from an outside perspective, aerospace is seen as such a small field, especially compared to something like, say, like computer science or other industries and fields. But I personally believe that aerospace has the potential to have an impact on every day and everyone's life. And the fact that we are, we had the Moxie the MOXIE technology demonstration on the Perseverance rover. So MOXIE was what we sent to Mars on the Perseverance rover to take the gases from the Martian atmosphere, like the carbon dioxide and methane, and convert that into oxygen. So, just like thoughts, like if we are able to convert carbon dioxide and methane on Mars to oxygen, then we could convert the greenhouse gases here on Earth and the carbon dioxide and methane here on Earth to oxygen and prevent global warming from escalating. We could place those sort of MOXIE setups on top of factory smokestacks so that the air is purified. And when factories release that air, we have a greater amount of cleaner air being reduced rather than something that's toxicated and polluted. And we also had the Ingenuity drone on Mars that was able to fly in such a thin atmosphere, in the thin atmosphere of Mars. And if we're able to do that, bring that back to Earth, we could definitely use drones as a capability to fly much faster, much higher, much more efficient, and use that as a method, more efficient method of transportation of products and goods. So I think there's a lot of potential for space, and it's not only about going deeper into space, but it's also about bringing back all of those creations to improve agriculture, medicine, and energy, and just the general human lifestyle back on
And
Earth.
Priya, thank you so much for enlightening about benefits of space exploration. So, could you just elaborate or touch, a little bit on what are the benefits of space exploration? Because most people are asking us that, we are wasting so much billions and billions of money going to space. Would rather use that money. People are hungry. There's a lot of suffering here on Earth, and we are busy trying to invest in going to space. Could you talk a little bit about what are the benefits of space exploration? I love space exploration. That's why I'm in this industry. I work for space missions. You are also interested in space missions, and I just love to hear a lot about this discipline. So, what are some of the benefits? How can we convince people who are telling us that why are you wasting so much money going to space?
That's an awesome question. And that's actually a question that I get a lot of times. And my go to response for that is that the benefits of space exploration is just indefinite and endless. Usually, for people don't realize the impact that space has already had on our current lifestyle.
Yeah.
And a great resource for people to check out is go to the NASA website and look at NASA spinoffs. And in that, NASA details how all the technologies from the Apollo era and going to the moon has impacted other fields. We have advanced solutions to cancer research because of spin-offs from the Apollo missions. We got Velcro. Velcro was initially originated for the purpose of spacesuits, but now we use Velcro almost anywhere for anything. And we have LEDs. We have so many spin-offs that came from space exploration and past space missions that a lot of people are not aware that it originated from NASA, and it originated with the goal of going to the moon. And the fact that we just got so much for sending someone to a crewed mission to the moon, and now that we're going back to the moon and even further to Mars, shows that there's potential for even more growth. And another aspect is that, we're not really trying to escape Earth. We are not really trying to run away from the problems of Earth by looking at space exploration, which is another perspective that a lot of people hold. And I like to look at it as more of this is a way to preserve our planet because it is unique and it is the only home we have. And our species is continuously growing. Our species is continuously expanding, but Earth is a little bubble of finite resources. So at one point, we don't want to get into the situation where we have depleted all the resources that are on Earth. So going through such expansion is just a way for humans to be able to preserve our own species and preserve our planet by using and utilizing the resources around us, such as the immense amount of minerals and silicon and ore from asteroids, the things that we can find on the moon, the amount of iron in the materials on Mars. These are all just resources that are plentiful around us outside our little finite bubble so that we can continue to sustain our species in the long run.
Wow, wow. So those are amazing points that she has mentioned. We just don't want to go to space to waste money, and there's just so many benefits that have come from as a result of going to space. Things like medicine. I love that. Um, Especially one of the benefits I understand was also actually operating on someone virtually. I think it was as a result of trying to go to space, and people don't understand a lot of benefits that just as a result of going to space, we've discovered so many things, and I mean we can line them up so many. So thank you so much for highlighting those. So, Priya, one other question I wanted to ask you: how did you gain an interest in STEM or being an astronaut? I know you've been on this channel before. Maybe just for the sake of the viewers that will be watching this, how did you get into STEM? If you could just summarize for us, how did it start?
Yeah, definitely. It was my first visit to Kennedy Space Center when I was about like 8 years old. And I remember um, that was like my first look at rockets. They were just huge machines that just touched the sky, and I was inspired. I was in awe. I had no idea what it was or what it did. I had no clue what was around me, but I remember being told that, you know, that is the hardest thing that man has ever done, and it is even harder to fly in it. And later that day, I had the opportunity to see an astronaut do a little show at the Kennedy Space Center. And I just told myself that, I want to be up there. I want to do the hardest thing man has ever done. And that day kind of sparked an idea that transformed into the purpose of my life. And right. And since then, I did have the opportunity to explore all the other fields. I did try out a lot of, different things. I was interested, like especially growing up, I was grateful to have the opportunity to try like music, art, try like different things, and like learning different subjects in school, other languages, all of that. But I came back to space and rockets mainly in around eighth grade. We had like a little model rocketry competition, and I thought, there's so many smart people around me in the class. There are so many smart guys in the class that know everything. I don't really know much. And our technology teacher in eighth grade, he had a little competition, and he said, if you answer this question about rocketry correctly, the winner, the first person to get all aspects of the question right, would get like a free parachute, like a mini plastic parachute
Yes.
for the model rocket. And I got super excited, and I just gave it a shot. I wrote down the answer that I could, I gave it in, and surprisingly, I was the one who was selected to get this parachute. I was extremely surprised because I had no clue. I didn't even know if my answer was right. I took a random guess. But that was kind of the day that, when I got the parachute, and then my tech teacher looked at me and said, you're going to do great. Your rocket's going to launch well. And that just instilled a
Wow.
sense of just a sense of enthusiasm and reassurance that, like, yes, it is hard, but yes, it is something that I can do. And finally, we had the opportunity to launch, and then my parachute deployed, and we had an awesome little rocket launch, and said, if I could launch a model rocket, then I could build real rockets too.
Guys, Priya is an aspiring astronaut, and we will be following her so closely. She's just doing amazing things. And guys, make sure you stay tuned to watch her do amazing stuff. So, Priya, one other question is: what advice would you give to female students concerning who are about to take a career like yours? What would you tell them? How can they become astronauts? I know you are not yet an astronaut, you're on your way to become an astronaut, but what advice could you give them?
Definitely. It requires a lot of perseverance, and it requires a lot of time and sacrifices from things that other people may get to enjoy more. But it's definitely a rewarding journey, is what I would say. There is definitely a lot of backfire that I've received. There is definitely people that have told me that no, I cannot do it. No, you are a girl. No, why are you doing this? Or no, space doesn't matter. Why is the space industry important? Like all the stuff we've discussed previously. And it is important to not take that negativity personally and instead fight that back and shatter those glass ceilings, break stereotypes, and rise above. Don't let any sort of boundaries, limitations define who you are or who you're meant to be. And there are a lot of moments where your own dreams could scare you. And there are a lot of moments where you will feel down, like you can't get back up. But a part of the biggest indicator of success
Yeah.
that I've learned is failure. And if you are failing again and again and again, that means you're doing the right thing. And you just have to keep going, and you just have to keep failing. You just have to. I like the quote that Blue Origin uses: "Fail fast, fail forward, and
Yeah.
just keep going." So it's a matter of pushing through, persisting, and keeping the end goal in sight, and also breaking that end bigger goal into smaller, actionable steps. Otherwise, it's going to feel like you're trying to carry the entire world on your shoulders, which is not possible for
That's a
anyone.
good one.
And it's definitely possible to do everything and be everything, but not all at the same time. So it's important to prioritize what aspect do I want to focus on this point in my life versus the next part, next step, or the next chapter, the next journey of my life, in order to get to where I want to go. So definitely, failing to plan is planning to fail is a quote that I live by, and just breaking down the big goals, the big ideas, the very inspirational dreams into smaller steps that translate into day-to-day actions that you could follow and make that goal a reality.
Wow. Guys, Priya just graduated from high school and she's in her first year at the university right now, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And she's an aspiring astronaut. So, guys, watch her space. One last question. I know you're so busy, you've got so many things to do, and I really give respect. I remember my time when I was going to the university, how it was. So, I really do respect that. So, here's the quote: the important thing is to never stop questioning, by Albert Einstein. What's your take on that?
I agree 100%. And learning is a lifelong journey. And that has been something that I've been told by my mentors across my mentors at Boeing, my mentors in the Civil Air Patrol, Air Force Auxiliary Association, and something that has constantly been emphasized by the most successful people. They are still calling their mentors, they're still calling people that they can go to for advice, for resources to learn. And regardless of what new journey or what new path you want to embark, the second you tell yourself that, oh, yes, I know this well, that's when you stop growing. And that's when you don't know it anymore. And that's your first sign as to, just facing a setback in that area. So just making sure you have an open mind and taking in the best out of everyone. Whenever I meet new people, I always like to see like one or two good qualities in them that I aspire to gain from them. And that has just been keeping me. That's a great way that I like to, resonate with people, meet new people, and learn from them, and just learn not just the way, not just their knowledge, but also the way they're about their lifestyle, etc. So it is definitely really important to keep learning, keep growing, always question. There's never a stupid question. And I think it's important, especially as you go through your journey and your career and as you become a leader, to always create an open, vulnerable atmosphere so that no one feels stupid for asking a stupid question. Because more times than not, it is usually those stupid questions that result in the biggest, observations or the biggest changes or the most important changes. So
And not to take your interview, it's so funny what you've just said. When I was at the university, the professor is teaching, and the material is just so hard for me to comprehend. And I'm like, I'm looking at everybody in the class. Nobody's asking anything, okay? Everybody's busy writing, and they look like they're consuming the material. So I say, you know what? What do I lose? Let me just ask the question. So when I ask the question, when the professor answers, guess who's writing? The whole class starts writing. I'm like, that's my question, guys. Where are you already?
yeah.
So what do you say about people who are scared about asking because they think, because human beings, we want to pretend like we know everything
Yeah.
sometimes, which is not a good thing. And I had to learn to be vulnerable for myself, to always ask the professor. I don't care how somebody's going to say, but you, I think you knew that. You should know. That's a must. You have to know that. So, what do you think? What do you say about those people who are scared, who are timid, who are afraid of their friends to ask?
Yeah. Um, Throughout, I've learned as I've been through my journey, I've learned that I never like to be the smartest person in the room. And that's always the mentality that I walk in with whenever I walk into any meeting, any discussion, any class, any lecture. I don't want to be the smartest in the room, and I'm not the smartest person in the room. And that way, you go from becoming like a brick to a sponge, and you're ready to absorb all the information that is thrown at you and learn from the people around you. In terms of overcoming that shyness and timidity, going to approaching that person maybe at the end separately, if you don't want to do it in front of the whole group, is a great way to start. But first, like taking that effort, noting down your question, saving it for the end. And it's totally okay if you are not comfortable with asking in front of everyone. And if you are too intimidated to go ask the person who's presenting, I've had many times where I tagged along with a friend, or a friend tagged along with me, and the two of us, we go up to the professor together.
Yeah.
And I just feel like I have someone next to me. So if I get yelled at, we get yelled at together. But
Yes.
more often than not, like, we never get yelled at. The professor is
Yeah.
always welcome to, explain topics, explain concepts. And even during the internship, I knew absolutely nothing. Like, I just graduated high school. I'm here at Boeing. Like, I know nothing compared to all these managers that have been working in the aviation industry for years. So being able to accept that and just take that in already opens your mind up for facing an amazing learning curve and just going upward. So in terms of breaking that shyness, definitely note it down, approach the person at the end. If you're too scared to do it, ask someone else to do it for you. Like, you could start off by asking someone else to do it or tag along with them, and slowly, gradually from there, just grow into eventually being able to stand up and speak for your own questions and your own thoughts. But always remember that you're your own best self advocate, and you asking questions it's only making you look better, because you are trying to learn, you are trying to improve, and you're trying to understand the material compared to other people who are just listening and taking everything in. And they probably don't even understand half of what everyone is saying.
That's really true. Guys, an aspiring astronaut, Priya Abiram. Thank you so much. I feel like I can just go on. We can just keep talking and talking. Guys, this is Women in Engineering. Here we are as role models. So please encourage a girl out there, that anything is possible. They can do it. So the last question, Bria, what would you say to a girl growing up in rural areas of United States? I know me and you, we may be privileged. We are in, cities that are, got so many resources, but there are those that still are lacking certain resources, not only here in United States, out there in Asia, Africa, Europe. How can they be astronauts?
Yeah, definitely. It's always, even regardless of what position you are, it's very easy to complain about what we don't have and all
Mhm.
our problems,
Yeah.
rather than look at what resources we do have. Even regardless of your socioeconomic status or what position you're in or where you're in, it is very easy to not think out of the box on how to leverage what is there around you, even if it is not as ideal as you would like it to be, or even if someone else has, quote unquote, more opportunities and more things available to them than you. And one big quote is, when opportunity does not knock, build a door. And that is how I kind of shoved my way into the aerospace industry in the first place, through the Civil Air Patrol. We started off with an aerospace program that was not as refined and built, and not the most effective in terms of teaching all the cadets in our Air Force Auxiliary Squadron. And eventually, I worked with my aerospace officer, my squadron commander, and other cadets in our squadron, and we all worked together on implementing a new refined aerospace program. And now that program, we started a YouTube channel, and we have gained very awesome national recognition, been featured on national conferences, and we've got questions from other squadrons in other states, like Georgia, Texas, say, hey, how did you guys do that? We would like to implement it too. So we went from a practice that wasn't as effective to something that is now nationally recognized. And that, it's very easy to kind of just sit there in the squadron and say, oh, our squadron's aerospace program is not good, so I'm not going to learn aerospace and I'm not going to be good at it. It takes a lot to make that first step and say, okay, let's make this change. Let's gather our people and let's put in the work. And especially if you don't have the opportunity, let's focus on what you do have. If you have access to things like social media,
Yeah.
there is an amazing way to leverage that. It doesn't always have to be just the usual makeup tutorials and pictures that you see on Instagram. There are amazing influencers in the science industry, in the space industry, that are willing to post, that are willing to teach, that are willing to share, and connecting with them on all these different platforms that, our world is now connected in internet these days, and just using that to reach out to anyone, everyone you can find, and not being afraid to send out that cold email or that cold text, to like 200 people. All it really takes is for one person to reply back and say, hey, I'm willing to support you. And boom, there you go. You have your first experience, you have your first opportunity. And from there, you could just grow, build, and develop. So whatever resource you have around you, whether that be books, movies, social media, the people that you have, and if not, just gathering interests and spreading the word to the people around you and starting something from there is the best way to approach that situation. And like I said, more often than not, you do have the resources in front of you. It's just really hard to look at it. And it takes some thinking and brainstorming to look at what you do have versus complain about what you don't have.
My goodness. Oh, guys, I wish I can just stay here, keep talking and talking, but we've come to the end of the show. Thank you so much, Priya. And still, we are watching your space, like, watch my space, okay? So we'll again invite you to come here so we can see what's going on, and just to encourage people around you so they can see how you're progressing, how you're moving from one place to another. It's just encouraging, aspiring for some of the kids and just parents watching and those around us. So guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll definitely try to get Priya back again so she can come on this channel and share with us what she's doing. So see you guys again, and ciao ciao.
Thank you,
Bye.
guys. Bye.